Writing precise and meaningful performance goals is an important part of your role in the performance management process at PGCC. The focus will be on writing performance goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, results-oriented, and time-based. To help us with setting goals, the notion of SMART goals can be very useful. An effective goal contains all of these elements. However, many goals do not possess any of these characteristics. We often think abstractly about goals, putting forth, quote, improved performance or, quote, better understanding as a goal without really getting down to the nitty-gritty. What does improved performance mean in very concrete terms? That's where the idea of SMART goals becomes important. Let's examine each of these qualities in more detail. Specific. Goals should clearly define what you're going to accomplish. Okay, that seems reasonable. But what exactly does it mean to clearly define a goal? First, think concretely about what you're going to do. This often requires you to translate an abstract goal into very concrete parts. For example, a vague goal might be improve my communication skills. But what exactly does communication skills mean? You can think of all kinds of potential meanings. It might be answering emails in a more timely fashion. It might be addressing your audience fluidly and not reading your PowerPoint slides verbatim. It might be clarifying processes for responding to external requests that really aren't your problem. You get the idea. Each of these goals might be further refined. This doesn't mean that a number of different goals can't be lumped together under the category of, quote, communication skills. It just means that you can begin to develop an action plan for improving a specific goal in ways that you can't for a general category. Measurable. Your goals should be measurable. Ideally, this measurement should be objective, based on performance, and quantifiable. You need to have tangible evidence that you've accomplished the goal or the intermediary goals you may have set in order to achieve your main goal. Some goals are immediately recognizable as measurable. For example, a 15% reduction in the number of dropped calls through the implementation of a new call center protocol in the next 6 weeks. But what if you're trying to measure student engagement in your classroom? That's considerably trickier. Here are some ways in which you can measure progress toward goals. Time. You should really think about how long it should take you to reach your goal. This depends, of course, on the nature of the goal. Your time frame might be the end of the fiscal year. It might be the time between your yearly performance reviews. For smaller goals, however, it might be measured in terms of days or a few weeks. You might also think in terms of work hours. If you want to learn something very complex in a short period of time, you will have to devote a significant percentage of your overall labor to that task. Quantity. This is a physical unit measurement, usually the number of units of output or input, such as process 350 trouble tickets per month, or develop 5 online student tutorials, or raise student performance on a final exam by an average of 8 points. Not all goals have an easily quantifiable measure, however, but you should certainly try to find an objective way to measure performance. Conformance. This refers to measures of deviation from a standard or goal. This might be an industry standard or an internal standard for drop calls in the call center, for example, or it might be a standard response time for fixing problems with classroom technology. Any task that has performance standards benchmarked falls under this category. Cost. Typical cost measures include staff hours and dollars. For some measures, it is useful to combine several measures, staff time, equipment, etc., into a dollar value for convenience, such as adhere to project expense budget of $60,000. This measure, of course, is related to the amount of time you devote to achieve a particular goal. You might not think in terms of monetary value for your labor, but somebody certainly is thinking in exactly those terms. Reaction. When other measures are not possible, and may be necessary to collect data based on more subjective reactions. A survey or focus group interview of customers or employees are sources of reaction measures. A measurement statement might be achieve an overall very good rating on the customer response card feedback. So you have a specific goal and a way to measure your progress. But is that goal So you have a specific goal and a way to measure your progress. But is that goal realistic? Can you really achieve your goal given your current skill level and environmental pressures? A goal must be achievable, and to judge whether or not you've set an achievable goal is to identify the requirements to make it happen and the constraints that may keep you from attaining the goal. This may be due to external factors. A goal of a 15% increase in student enrollment in the fiscal year is probably unrealistic during a recession. Or it may be due to internal factors. Setting a goal for creating 16 new departmental websites by the end of the semester is not very achievable if there's a hiring freeze at the college or you've lost your experienced web designers. That doesn't mean that all goals should be easily reached. They should challenge you, but not be overwhelming in terms of expectations. Achievable goals motivate employees. Impossible goals demotivate them. Results focused. Your goals should be results focused or relevant. In terms of your performance reviews, your goals should focus on key institutional issues. Why is your goal significant? Does it align with other efforts? You need to think not only in terms of your own self, but also in terms of the systems in which you operate. You need to align your goals with the goals of the college. You should think in terms of how achieving your goal will contribute to the sustainability and success of the college as a whole. Time-based and timely. As we discussed previously, goals should include a specific time frame for completion, but they should also be timely. Is this the best time to make a change? Why? If you don't act now, will you miss a golden opportunity to effect change? Can you afford to shift your focus to another set of goals given the current climate? Are you swimming against the current? Those are the kinds of questions you have to ask yourself to ensure that your goals are time-based and timely. Now let's examine the differences between a hazy goal and a SMART goal. Performance goals. Let's talk about your yearly performance goals that you will create. You need to really focus on results, on aligning your goals with the overarching goals of the college. So when creating your performance goals, do not concentrate on everyday duties that are required of all PGCC employees, such as answering phone calls promptly or making efficient use of computer skills. As you start thinking about your goals, consider the following categories. Remember, these general categories are not SMART goals. For example, you can't simply define your goal as improving financial results. You would need to roll up your sleeves and create concrete and measurable goals. Financial results. You might focus on reducing overhead, eliminating expenses, improving enrollment, or negotiating grants from a local government. This also deals with increasing productivity, particularly in difficult economic times. How do you get the most out of your employees? Key client penetration, which includes renewals, new business, contract extensions, client relationships. You might focus on marketing strategies of the college and your department's role in that overall strategy, or you may negotiate with vendors to improve both your costs and quality of service. The college has a number of clients, traditional and non-traditional students, as well as local governments and the business community. Completion of key projects. Your department may be involved in ongoing projects, and your performance goals will be based on those projects and their benchmarks. Customer service. Your department may not have direct contact with students, but that doesn't mean that you don't have customers. You may work with other departments who operate essentially as your internal customers, And you can focus on communication and service internally. Applications development. Your department may be constantly integrating new technology into college processes, requiring you to develop and implement new applications, as well as train employees. Management and development of talent. Supervisors are required both to manage their employees to optimize performance and to facilitate employee development. They also focus on the attraction and retention of talent. Re-engineering processes or organizations. Organizations that learn from experience are always on the lookout for ways to improve their processes or to shift the organizational structures to leverage existing resources. Reviewing and revising your goals. Under certain circumstances, you may have to modify your goals during the year. Some of the circumstances that necessitate changes, external conditions beyond your control, which make the objective inappropriate or obsolete, priorities which have shifted, a project which has been dropped, changing jobs. In this case, talk with your new supervisor to set new goals for performance.